Good evening, good evening. Those of you that are coming on in, just say hey or hello. Um, I'll give it roughly another 2 minutes. I'll be generous. And then I'll get started. Okay? Just shoot me a holler, say hey or hello. Let me actually share this. I'll do that. And why don't you let me know something that you have learned uh, so far as a result of these sessions we've been having. Let me do that. Okay. So when you're coming in, just say hello, maybe where you're watching from, and then one thing that you have learned from these sessions. Okay. I'm gonna give it 1 more minute. Okay. Then I'll go ahead and get started. Trying out a new camera angle today. I think I'm kind of feeling it, if I'm honest. Show you another side of my station here. Another 30 seconds. I'm gonna go off this YouTube live timer. If you guys see me looking to the right and to the left, I have three screens that I'm using to administer these lives right now. I am looking into platform, switching over to using a platform that will allow me to stream multiple places from one device. So maybe next time the Art of Worship is back, I'll be using that platform. I'm actually a little excited about it. Things are just, moving in a decent direction. All right. It has been 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay. So, hopefully, you guys have enjoyed these sessions. I know it's been, while it's been a learning process, it's also been an enjoyable process to learn and to teach and to impart um, this wisdom and this perspective on worship arts and how music ministries and worship arts ministries interact with church leadership and how they interact with each other and how we can just do our best as it pertains to serving the body of Christ, serving our local churches, right, and serving God with our gift, with our life. So I do want to address. It's been a minute. I got sick a couple weeks ago, caught the flu, and so I was not able to join you guys a couple weeks ago. But it's good to be back, and so we're going to dive in with night number 4. Okay, and so we've talked about your relationship with God. We talked about the relationship with your pastor, and then last time I was with you guys, we spent some time talking about roles in the worship arts department, right? Uh, how what the sound man does and how that interacts with worship, with the worship arts director, with the music director, what each individual band member contributes, what the background singer may contribute, and all those things, right? We went through all of that. All right, so today we are talking about relationships with your team, right? We talked about your godly relationship, your pastoral relationship, right? Now we're going to talk about the relationship with your team, those that labor with you, okay? So here's the thing, right? Any team that you serve on, any team that you are a part of, right, that you interact with regularly, right, you want that team to be strong, okay? Um, and part of keeping that relationship strong is knowing, right, that every member of that team is important and really keeping that as an internal value, right? You don't want to necessarily approach them and approach it as less than, or approach each task as a chore or something of that nature. You want to know that every member of that team is important. Okay, as the old saying goes, what's going on, my boy? As the old saying goes, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. We have a mission, we have a task at hand, right? We have a duty to fulfill, and it's going to take a team to do that. Okay. All right, and maintaining a strong team, I want to say this early, it goes beyond just a casual outing and a fellowship here and there, right? Those things are very important because how you guys interact, how you guys bond off of, I'll use a casual term here, off of the bandstand or the platform or however you want to say it, right? That does matter and that does play a part, but that's not the only thing that's going to take in order to maintain a strong bond within your band, okay? Within your ministry. Okay, so let's dive into the first thing here. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about is respect. Okay, it's my view that respect should be the baseline for every single interaction, for every single group, every single team. Like at the baseline foundational level, there needs to be respect. Okay, for every member, and it needs to be mutual. Okay, and we see that in Scripture to an extent, right? In Luke 6:31, we're admonished to do unto others as we would have them do unto us, right? In general, as a human being, you want respect. So it's important that you show that respect too, especially in leadership, right? But even if you are underneath a leader, right, show that leader respect. And it'll be easier to get that in return, right? Um, and it's important, another thing beyond that is important for us to know that these are souls that we're dealing with, right? When you, especially in ministry, um, while we do have a paper job, I mentioned that in another live, right? We have a job on paper, and then we have a job in the spirit, right? And so while we do have a task to do, and we have positions and hierarchies and things of that nature, like this is still a soul. This is a person that has a heart, that has a mind, that has a will, that has emotions, right? This is somebody that Jesus died for, that you're serving with, that you're leading, that you are serving under, right? And so that person deserves respect. That person deserves to be seen and treated with respect, okay? And so here's some things that looks like. Please and thank you. Like respect that person enough, respect your team enough to use pleases and thank yous. Um, and although that is super simple, you guys would not believe the amount of times I've seen that like gone by the wayside, either seen it or experienced it, right? Um, and they'll try to excuse it. Leadership will try to excuse it with phrases like, uh, please and thank you is implied, or I don't have time to say please, I don't have time to say thank you. It's my view, it's my view that those kind of notions are like beyond toxic, beyond toxic. Like, you're worth a please and a thank you, especially if you're not being paid. Like, if your team is made up of volunteers, understanding volunteer means I don't have to be here. let's just let's just be clear about that, right? So if you're serving people or serving with people who are voluntarily giving up their time away from their family, time away from a personal respite, time away from a recreational activity, time away from something that could be earning them money to come and serve in this capacity, and we can't even say please and thank you. I feel like that's a problem. I really do. If you have time to ask somebody to do something for you, you have time to say please and please. How long did that take? How much did that cost? Did that? Hold on, just a second. I just want to try something out. Okay, please. Nope, no money fell out. I didn't lose anything. My credit score didn't drop 300 points. Right, it's okay. Hey, can we all please come up to the front? All right, let's get up. Let's mount the platform, please. Let's go ahead and run up. Run the set down. All right, let's start the clip for the first song, please. You know, I don't. That goes a long way, and doing it with sincerity and intent, right? Um, and thank yous. You know, hey, can you bring that over here for me for a second? Thanks so much. Right now, you know, I use pleases and thank yous a lot with the people that I lead, and even with the people that I serve. Like if somebody's doing something for me, I try to use pleases and thank yous, right? Um, to the point where I've had people tell me, like, bro, like I understand, but you're my bro. Like we're so past the point that you don't need to do this. Like, bro, it's all love. I got you. I hear that, and that means a lot to me. However, I don't ever want it to be assumed that like I don't value what that person is doing, valuing their time, valuing their presence, valuing their contribution to this team, valuing their contribution to what we're building, what we're working towards, right? So at a baseline level, I'll use please and thank you. And it's an act of love. You know, it's a way of showing love, right? Let's look in scripture at that. Let's look at Proverbs 20 and 28. Okay, let's check that out. Uh, Here it is. So what it says is mercy and truth preserve the king, and by love and kindness he upholds his throne. So another translation says, love and faithfulness keep a king safe. Through love, his throne is made secure. Okay. Now this is, this comment is kind of geared towards those that are in leadership, worship arts director, music director, minister of music, things of that nature, right? Uh, when you are dealing in areas of influence, leadership, and things of that nature, like for security's sake, it's important to leave love and kindness on the table, right? Through love, your throne is secure. Through love, you don't have to worry about people questioning your leadership or trying to run a coup and trying to overthrow you and things of that nature. People are more inclined to want to serve if they feel appreciated, if they feel loved, right? So, and even when we talk about reciprocation, you want to do more when people show that love and respect to you, right? So through that love and kindness, your leadership is secure. Even that person as a individual leader, right, and how they lead their own lives is secure when love, is a foundational, when love and respect is a foundational element in that bond, in that friendship. Okay. All right. Next is order. 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 If you are on, type that in the comments for me. Order. Okay. So, a moment of transparency. This is something that I had to work on, um, at a point in my growth, at a point in my development, right? And here's what I mean: following the chain of command. Okay, when you are serving with a team, especially in a church setting, right? There's generally a chain of command, right? There's some sort of order. This is how things go. If you have an issue, this is who you talk to. X, Y, Z, A, B, C, one, two, three, whatever, right? Now, I am somebody who likes to deal with the man in charge. That's me, right? Where did that come from? I have no idea. That's probably a long story, but I think it comes from efficiency. Like I just like to get things done. I don't want to wait for your response. I don't want to wait for you to look at statutes and tech paper. Just give me a yes or no, so I can move on and get stuff done. Here's the thing. That's not okay. Like that's not an orderly thing to do. That's not kosher, right? If the team that you're serving going, if your ministry, if your church has a chain of command, has a process, has a procedure, then You as a team member in whatever capacity, you have a responsibility to adhere to that. Okay, and this goes beyond Sunday service. You have a responsibility to adhere to that procedure, to adhere to that chain of command, right? And that's what helps maintain order. So long as everyone adheres to the order and does what they're supposed to do as it regards to that order, that helps things flow smoothly, and it makes ministry easy. Like it really makes ministry easy. Okay. Here's another example of how order works: getting material on time, getting material out on time, looking at the material in enough time, right? Uh, this means songs lyrics. If your church sends out parts, sending those out. Chord charts, if you're sending those out, send them out. Sending out stems, dates, rehearsal times, attire, whatever, right? Everything that's pertinent to the ministry engagement, ministry assignment sent out on time. Okay? Uh, why is this important? We talked about respect, we talked about love so far today, right? When you do this, it shows that you respect that person's time, that you respect their integrity, that you respect their effort, and that you respect their which kind of goes along with integrity, but you respect their desire to do things in excellence, right? If I send out music a week, 2 weeks in advance, that's giving you enough time to do what you need to do. Let's make sure I can get my laundry done, to have these clothes ready. I have more than enough time to listen to these parts, listen to these songs, get all the changes down, internalize it right on a musical and a spiritual level. I have enough time to get whatever I need to get fixed. The rest musicians, if you need to go buy you a new pair of inner ears, if you need to change the strings in your bass, if you need to do whatever, right? You have enough time to prepare. If service is Sunday and I send you the music Friday or Saturday, like depending on what you're trying to learn, now I mean, I can't speak for everybody, right? I know that there's a spectrum. Some musicians, okay, they may know the song already, or they may be able to learn it in the car, and it doesn't take them that long. It take 30 minutes. However, as I stated earlier, these are people. Like these aren't cogs in the machine. These are people, right? These people have families. These people have jobs. These people are people, so they have things they want to do, especially if they're working 9 to 5 in addition to serving at your church. They probably want some time to themselves, right? They want to spend time with their kids. You want to do stuff, and you just want them to. You want to send a set list the day before, talking about learn this and be ready on Sunday. That's not respecting their time, is it? Now I got to change my whole schedule to go learn this music. Now I'm irritated. Now I really don't care. I'm gonna put some ears on there and do what I can, or what I'll say I did what I can, and show up, and we'll just I don't know lollygag our way through the records, and then something go wrong, and you're still looking at me crazy. But I can learn the material because you didn't sit enough time, and now we have the issue. We have an issue, right? Rather than have a systematic order, and on the reciprocating end, you as the person that's receiving that information, what's up, Chief? You have a responsibility to learn that music. If I send you music a week or two in advance, by the time we show up for rehearsal or sound check or whatever, I definitely expect you to have learned that music. If there's a problem or something like that, I expect to hear from you regarding that music. If you're having trouble with a part, or if you're having trouble with a chord, or doing whatever, and it's something that's pertinent, I expect you to reach out. That's respect. Because if I send you music at ample time, and then we show up on Sunday and you haven't learned it, now I'm frustrated because I put the work in to adhere to the system, to set up the system, to send you the music that you didn't listen to. Now we can't minister effectively because you don't know the record. That's disorder. That's chaos. That's an inhibitor. Now there's a chance, a high possibility that I'm now ministering from a frustrated place because we aren't sticking to the order. Does that make sense? Uh, in regards of in regards to getting things done in the church, right? If the equipment needs to be purchased, for needing to know about bringing a particular artist in, or what certain plans are for services, right? And the system is, uh, we're meeting on this day at this time, or if you need a piece of equipment, you need to fill out this form, and it needs to go to this individual, who then needs to look it over and give it to that individual. As cumbersome as that may be, if we just start doing whatever you want to do, no, whatever. I'll call the pastor later and get that information. I ain't going to no meeting. No, bump that. I'm gonna just buy it myself. Have the church pay me back, and they're gonna pay me back. No, I ain't filling out no paperwork. I'm gonna just go walk in their office and do whatever. You okay? You all right? Like, that's not like, if you're in the receiving end of that kind of kind of energy. Like, are you inclined to do anything with that individual? Are you inclined to speak to them? Are you inclined to serve? Are you inclined to smile? I can tell you right now, I'm not. As soon as you bust in my office, it's what? Here go this Negro again. Uh, no, like, no. Be kind, be respectful, be prompt, and I guarantee you there'll be more of an inclination to get things done. I've been in situations to where, because of the way I approach things, especially when it comes to getting equipment, they'll add me to, accounts, and just say, hey, this is how much you can spend. Go in there and get what you need. Or they'll be more inclined to get me in to see somebody, or more inclined to set aside time, or made it more inclined to expedite what I need, just because I show basic respect to them and their system. And again, it didn't cost me anything. It wasn't, a whole lot of extra time. Did I have to exercise some patience? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it works. It pays off, right? Okay. So how do we do that if you don't have a system? There are many different platforms, right? But let's just talk about in the area of sending out material. Let's just go there, right? Use Bandapp, Planning Center is super popular, Dropbox is super popular, and honestly, with the most, I mean, effective, simple ways are Facebook Messenger and YouTube playlists. Like that gets the job done every single time. Nothing wrong with saying, okay, here's the playlist for this date, and here's what we're wearing. Boom. Facebook group chat. Boom. Done. Right? And something that I would do is set an alarm on my phone that says, this day at this time, I need to send music out. Because people are human, we forget. You know what I'm saying? This music is for next week, and what I would do is date. Like, if I'm making a YouTube playlist, I'll date the playlist. That says these are the songs for whatever, March 19th. Boom, boom, boom. If there's a key change or something like that, I'll make note of that, and then I'll send it out. Right? That's an easy procedure. Bandapp has a calendar involved. You can build a team. You can put links in there. Same with Planning Center. You can accept and decline your services and things of that nature. Super intricate. Planning Center does cost. Bandapp is free. Um, with those platforms, like, you can do, especially in Dropbox as well, you can have folders, right, and plan out stuff for the month, just depending on what your procedure is. Um, so there's many ways to tackle that, and just invite them to that folder, or shoot the folder to your team, right, via email, via text, or whatever the case may be, and they can go out and check out any file that you put in there, the song file, the stem file, the lyric file, whatever, and get what they need. And you can have stuff. You know, it can be January. You can have Easter records out if you already plan for that. It can be July, and you got Christmas records done or your Christmas plan in place. Put that Dropbox for, and it's in there, right? Um, Killing a lot of birds with that stone. So there's many ways to go about doing that, and then having a conversation, right? Saying, hey guys, here's the system that's in place. You could always find the information here. Please look at that information by this time so that we have enough time to prepare for, rehearsal or prepare for Sunday service. Um, Please like or heart this message to let me know that you've received it. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me at this time, la da da da, and let that be known, right? And then again, love and respect, pleases and thank yous. Okay, I appreciate all of you guys, in the way that you serve and what you bring and what you contribute to this ministry. This is only going to help us to expedite and go even higher. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you at the next rehearsal. Much love to you. Boom. Done. Done. Right? Okay. So in all these things, how we talk to people, how we handle things, the order that we set, the order that we keep, right? I find it a little imperative to remind us that, we are being watched. We are being observed, right? Um, and that's not, I don't say that for that to be your only incentive for, doing something and operating in order, but it's still a true statement, right? People are watching you. And they're watching you not to see what you say, but to see what you do, because that's what they're going to do essentially, right? Oftentimes, that's what they're going to do, or it's going to birth confusion and frustration, right? Uh, Chaos gets birthed, right, when there's no order, and so if you're not operating in order, then people are going to have the thought of, why do I need to, or why am I? Why am I learning all this music and taking time out of my day to learn it on Saturday night, and you're not sending out the music? Why am I showing up on time waiting in the parking lot and you're late? Why am I sending out all this music and you're not learning it? Maybe I should just hire somebody else who can learn the music. Why am I setting up all these systems just so you can do what you want to do? Things you can call me anytime that you want to call me, or walk into my office anytime you just want to barge into my office, like I don't have other things to do because you think you're so important, right? That you can't adhere to the system. What makes you think that you're so special? And why should I want to do what you're asking anyway? These are things that happen, and that sounds chaotic, doesn't it? That sounds like a bunch of dissension, doesn't it? That doesn't sound like ministry, does it? Because of order. So then the people that are watching you, what are the people that aren't in your ministry receiving? What are the people that watch you worship and they can feel the frustration? What are they experiencing? What are those kids or those people that are interested in serving in your department witnessing when they see a bunch of disorder? I can't necessarily say it, but that band sound weird. You see that face he made at her on stage? That doesn't promote a healthy ministry, right? That doesn't inspire confidence that things are running well, right? And we want a well running ministry, right? We don't want ministries that are in conflict with other ministries. We don't want ministries that have internal conflict because respect and order aren't being maintained, right? Hopefully, this is all making sense to y'all. Okay, so understand that ministry is bigger than us. It's bigger than the individual. It's bigger than the ministry, right? Ministry is bigger than the music ministry. Ministry is bigger than the finance ministry, than the usher ministry, than the youth ministry. Ministry in and of itself is bigger than that. And what that means is you don't you don't get involved in ministry to do what you want to do. That's just my take. You can do with that what you will. You don't get in ministry to do what you if you think that you're going to be involved in any kind of ministry and just do what you want to do and really call it ministry. If you say that you want to minister, because I mean it's beyond preaching and things like that, right? Ministry to minister means to serve. So you're probably going to be doing something that you don't want to do at some point, right? But it's to serve a bigger cause. Okay. Uh, and so no matter what the heart posture is behind some of these actions, when we look at operating in order, like I said, I had to learn it. I don't want to fill out the paperwork. I don't. I have a simple question. I really don't want to have to schedule a whole meeting to ask my question. Or what I need to ask is only going to take 5 minutes. Like, I don't really want to wait 2 weeks for that. But guess what? That's what I'm going to do, to step out of myself, to step out of my ministry and adhere order and to show respect, to show love so that we can operate in unity. That makes sense? Okay. And this, I mean, this also contributes to just living a godly lifestyle. Like, these shouldn't start and stop at the doors of the church. You know, these principles apply on your job. They apply in your family. They apply, uh, as you're handling your business. If you're going inside of a store to go make a purchase, you should adhere to the way that store operates. If you're going to a restaurant, you should probably adhere to the rules and the protocol at that restaurant. If it's a restaurant where you need to make a reservation, don't think that you're just going to walk in there and sit down. And that's a random silly example, but I mean, you get what I mean, right? They're not going to want to serve you, and you're disrespecting their system. They're not going to want to help you. They're not going to be kind to you. They're going to wait for you to get out. They might spit in your food. They might, I don't know. They might ignore you. Call security to kick you out, ban you from the store. Or whatever it is going to incite some kind of chaos when you don't adhere to that order, right? Okay, almost done here. So let's talk about teamwork. Okay, we talked about these different auxiliaries and these different ministries, right? And in the realm of in the scope of the church, they're all set up so that we in these auxiliaries and even within the individual ministry can do ministry together, right? Yes, everybody in the worship arts ministry is doing ministry together, but then the worship arts ministry should be doing ministry with the youth ministry, should be doing ministry with the parking lot ministry, should be doing ministry with the usher ministry, should be doing ministry with the other ministry staff. Making sense? Um, okay, but addressing back to the worship arts, uh, understand that you're on the same team. Why am I making that point? It's easy to become self-absorbed, right? Um, and it's easy to be frustrated when you are interacting, dare I say, dealing with people, right? Which is why you have to, always see that soul, see that heart, right, in the individual. Because when people operate differently from you, when people have, a slightly different value system, or when people, um, have a different thought process and different perception, it can be frustrating, right? When people want to push back against these systems for lack of understanding, right? Well, why we got to show up at 7 o'clock? Well, why I got to wear this? Well, why can't you send me the music this way? Well, why can't we? You know, that can be frustrating. Oh, he always play like that. She always sing like this. She always want to do. Every time she lead, yeah. And some people may have some personal fundamental issues to work out, right? But if the job is getting done effectively and with a good heart, then it might be a space for you to show some grace because you're on the same team, and it's about the people that we're serving. So what if they serve differently than you? If it's a true heart of service and it's effective, you're on the same team. You know. Okay. Um, and we talked about valuing these people's lives. These are husbands, these are wives, these are parents, these are employees, these are business owners. These are people who need Christ just as much as you do. Even though they're on the platform, even though they have an instrument in their hand and they're sitting behind the signboard, they need to receive from God as well. You know, and we're admonished in First Thessalonians 5:12 to know those that labor amongst us. Dude, this is my teammate. This is my brother or sister in Christ. This is my co-laborer. This is my co-worker. If you want to use that terminology. Like this is somebody that I'm on the battlefield next to. That's who's laboring among me. So yeah, I'm gonna do stuff that makes it that helps us to win. That helps us to be effective in what we're doing. The rehearsal 6 to 8, and I'm here from 6 to 8, and they're here from 6 to 8. Guess what? No matter what we had to give up, we're both here at the same time for the same purpose. That's my teammate. That's my brother. That's my family member. You know, and this is how we remain. This is how we maintain that relationship. Yeah, we can go out. Yeah, we can bowl and we could grab a burger and grab some wings or do whatever. But I'm not super inclined to do that if when we get back to service or we get back to rehearsal, I got to walk into a chaotic, disrespectful environment without any love. And I'll be embarked at, and I don't feel like my time is respected. You know, when those things are in place, real talk, if we're gonna keep it a buck 50, when those things are in place, it diminishes the need for it because the ministry feels like fellowship. When I'm Indian with my squad and we are in worship and we are feeling good, sounding good, things are in sync, and I can look to my right and look to my left and know that that's my bro and we locked, that's fellowship to me. It may be different for y'all. Like I said, this is my perspective, and I'm just here to impart and hopefully help you, help your ministry, or give you a different perspective on your environment. But that's fellowship to me. Like I understand we all have busy lives, so we might not all be able to find the time to meet up and catch a movie or meet up for a bite. But man, when I when we come into rehearsal or we come into Sunday service, I know that I'm about to have a time with my people. Worship team too. When I'm hitting with Ray Tina, when I'm hitting with Zoe, when I'm hitting with like I'm excited about it. And and sometimes it makes me want to. It's not needed, but it makes me want to. Like, man, we just had a time, bro. What y'all on after this? You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not looking down on playing fellowships or anything like that, but it's one of those moments. It's one of those experiences because off the platform, there's so much love, there's so much respect, there's so much uh, camaraderie there, where you just want to maintain those relationships. Is all I'm saying. Okay, so it's important to establish that and maintain it in unity and excellence, right? And I think it's important because so many people, especially in the music ministry, um, it's diminished down to looking at it as just a job. I have to be here because I gotta serve, or I gotta make sure I get this check so I can pay these bills and oh, yep, this is Tuesday night again. Yep, church rehearsal. Gotta go in here and we don't feel connected, right? Uh, and it's oftentimes these issues of just love, respect, and order. Right? I got a pastor that's talking down to me on the pulpit, and he don't like the way I do whatever. I'm not inclined to want to be here, but I feel like I got to be here because this is what I got to do in order for me to survive. Or I know I like playing for church. I know I like being a musician, so I'm gonna try to tough it out for the love of the craft. But man, I really don't like y'all. Like it happens. It happens. And it shouldn't, Or it could be a situation of like, I don't know that I am important to what goes on here. I don't know, what me having a teamwork mindset really does. Because people, and it's no disrespect, right? But musicians or singers can show up and say, I'm prepared, right? Like I said, I use this analogy. I don't know if I've used it on here, but I say like you can street at the same together. That makes sense. So I can show up on time. I can be wearing the right clothes. I know the songs. I know my parts. I know the changes. I know everything. I can speak, I guess. But I'm gonna show up and do what I'm supposed to do, and then I'm gonna go sit down, or I'm gonna leave, or do whatever. And on paper, I did everything right. I was prepared. I dressed. I smiled. I lifted my hands. I played the changes. I was on time. But then we don't engage, right? And we don't see that as as important, or we don't speak or just show love to people. We may not necessarily be standoffish, but we're not necessarily engaging either. And it really does make a difference. We appreciate your order. We appreciate your order. We do. But it makes a difference when you have teamwork, and when you have a team and you've established teamwork, and you maintain that, and you see that breathing throughout your team, especially if you're in leadership, right? Even if you're not, like when your leader sees certain things breathing and established and living in their department without them having to necessarily enforce it, or it only turns on when they're there. Oh man, what? I'm more excited to serve and lead you. They say the true test of a leader is what happens when the. So let's say if I'm running late let's say if I'm a worship arts director and I'm running late to rehearsal, and I walk into rehearsal and I see choir members hugging each other and hey girl, how are you? And what's up? And everybody's shaking up and we getting started and laughing and joking around. Man, what? That's super dope. When I see people interact on Facebook, and I found out that you sent a funny reel to this person and you like this person's post, and you went to so and so's, birthday party, baby shower, or whatever the case may be, and I'd have to send a message saying, "Hey, let's make sure we support," la da. That is amazing. and it makes you want to lead even more. It makes you excited to show up the next time and do more ministry together. And it makes it easy. It makes it fun. It makes it easy to worship with, you know, that that group of people, that body of people. And what's even better is, in the scope of church, if that ministry can have that with a different ministry. I'm not hugging everybody's neck and shaking up in the music department, and then the ushers just okay. You know what I'm saying? Think about it from the lens of a pastor. If I'm seeing uh, a vocalist from the praise team who just serves in the worship parts, who just serves in the praise team, right? But I'm showing up at church, and I'm seeing this person go hug the usher and say hey to mother so and so, and pop in on the youth pastor or do whatever. Like, imagine what that does to that leader's heart. You know, to see their membership, to see their ministry staff interacting like that. And those things make the church ministry at large better. It makes it easier. Everybody wants to be there. It's an environment of love. It's an environment of respect, and it makes it easy to want to engage God. Oh, that's the kind of love I received at the. Let me see what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because as worship leaders, we're not uh, we're not forcing people to worship. We're showing them. We're demonstrating worship. We're showing them how to worship. We're showing them what worship looks like. Exactly, synergy, right? We're showing them what worship looks like. So, as somebody who's showing somebody what worship looks like, or what an act looks like, if I look like I'm truly enjoying it, and you know we are all having a good time up here, and I'm not forcing a smile, I'm not forcing a hand raise, I'm not forcing a head bob or anything, like I'm not forcing a dance move, but like, because of the love I have for everybody on this stage, on this platform, for the love I have for Christ myself, you know, everybody feels good. Everybody, is serious about worship. It's like, yeah, let me get involved. I've seen it happen. I've seen what it does emotionally. I've seen what it does spiritually. Even in scripture, right? We're talking about teamwork and unity. In Chronicles, right? It talks about um, how when everybody was on one accord, the power entered the room so heavy that there was no preaching. Musicians couldn't play, singers couldn't sing, and I've seen that. How can that happen? How are we on one accord and you disrespecting me? How am I even interested in being on one accord with you when from the moment I walked in there, all you did was you ain't say good morning, you ain't do none of that. You just, hey, move this, come on here, hurry up, sing this part, do this, pass me that, do me that. How? Like, how? Right? This goes beyond, there's an effect of serving as a team. Things happen in the spirit, things happen to people. And I'll say this now, I don't know when if I ever will say it, in one of these lives, I'll probably say it again. But as I'm serving, the number one thing on my mind is the one person who may walk through this door who I've never seen before. Why is that important? I don't know if you know Christ or not. I'm not going to judge you, but if I haven't seen you in this church before, in my ministry mindset, I have to assume that there's a chance that you may not be saved. So how am I contributing to your salvation? That's what this is about. How am I contributing to you encountering God for yourself? Yeah, know the records. Yep, I can play a chord. It's not in the strings. It's not in, like, am I behaving in a way as much as possible in every aspect possible to help create an environment where somebody, especially somebody who does not know Jesus, can come and encounter him on their own. Like, that's the big picture. Okay. Caveat there. All right. Lanes and boundaries. I think this is our last. Oh no, we got a few more. Okay. Still doing all right. Okay. So here's the thing when it comes to lanes and boundaries. Let's think about traffic for a second. Okay? Like nothing is like any kind of traffic, foot traffic, car traffic, whatever. Nothing is more important than somebody being in your way. You know what I'm saying? Like move. Standstill traffic, or somebody driving crazy and swerving between lanes, or somebody walking slow in front of you while you're trying to walk down. Like move. Like nothing is more irritating. There's somebody in your space. You know, you don't want to be there. Somebody in your way. Move, right? Um, and so we look at teamwork. We look at healthy boundaries in ministry and in these departments and things like that, right? It's important that we have clear established lanes, clear established boundaries, um, and that we respect them, that we operate in order, that we operate in love and respect, and that we maintain and respect those lanes and boundaries, right? So we don't cross, so we don't, invade space and things like that, which is part of why I kind of briefly describe these roles, right? Because not everything that is disorderly is intentional, right? So here's a few ways that I think will help ensure that you're staying in your lane, okay? Number one is having a clear understanding of what that lane is. What is my job? What are my roles? What do you need me doing? Because without that, I could be anywhere doing some of anything and be more hurt than I am to help, right? Like I said, it's not always intentional or malicious. Some people just don't know. So, like when I come into a situation, any situation, as just a member or as a music director, even if I have a leadership position, what are my roles as a leader? If I get hired as just a side man, okay, what all do you need me to do? Even down to am I bringing my own gear? This I find it important to know, right? Okay, and even biblically, we're admonished to get understanding, right? And all that getting understanding. You got the job, you got the times, you got the gig, you got the pay information, you got all of that. Get an understanding of what you're supposed to be doing. You may think some things are implied, so be just ask, just ask. Okay. Do your job. This is number two. Do your job, only your job, and do it well. Okay. Now let's talk about it. Okay. This does not mean be standoffish. This does not mean don't be a help. This does not mean be selfish, right? But it means that top priority needs to be doing what you've been asked to do, right? Uh, if you're gonna be a sound man, be the sound man. If you're the organist, be the organist. If you're a background vocalist, be a background vocal. I mean, kill it. Sing the part here, vibrato, a run here or there, belted, bark, as I like to say now. Sing. Hmm. Okay, but if you're not, don't. If you're the bass player, maybe let's not be trying to give parts to the alto section. Just a thought. If you're the sound man, maybe let's not be telling the drummer what groove to play. Yes, I've seen it. Absolutely, I've seen it. If you're the keys player, check it out. Hear me close. If you're the keys player but not the music director, uh oh, maybe you should be the one calling out numbers, should you? I don't care what information you think you have. Is that your place? Is that your lane? I don't know if I can. My eyebrows getting bigger. Is it? Now there may come a time. where you may be needed to do something a little extra. Hey, I'm running late or I'm out sick. Can you run rehearsal? Can you run sound check? Can you do, I'm not gonna make it this week. Can you just take leave this week? There might be a time where you need to step into that role. Absolutely help out. Absolutely. But if that's not your place, that's not your place. Know your lane, stay in your lane, and maximize your lane. If you are the drummer, I mean, play the piss out them drums. Excuse my language if that's offensive. Sorry, but play the drums. Play them. Tune them well. Dust them off. Make sure they're nice and shiny. I mean, I want to hear some good dynamics. Put that kick in their chest. I mean, solid pocket. Have some good chops. Play the drums. Show up on time. Have your ears. Have your kick pedal if you want your own kick pedal. Keep up with your sticks. Play. Absolutely. But if you're not, and let me just say this. I think it is so it invites more peace when you stay in your lane anyway. Like sometimes I joke with my wife and I say like I have a degree in minding my business. Oh, I can mind it. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Cool. And I don't mean I'm standoffish. You know, if I see you struggling, I can. It's okay to ask. That's actually my next point. It's okay to ask. Like, hey, do you need some help, or can I help you out? Are you all right? But if you straight, you doing your job. Do it, man of God, woman of God. Kill it. I'm rooting for you. I ain't got to do it. I ain't got to get involved. I ain't got to stress about it. I ain't got to pay for it. I ain't got to buy an extra outfit, an extra piece of equipment to do it. I'm doing my job. Okay. Number three, ask questions. Like I just said, you see somebody struggling, or you see an extra place where you might be able to offer assistance. Hey, is there, I see this opening. I would like to, offer my assistance here, or is there any way I can further assist you? I saw X, Y, Z. Like, just pull somebody aside and ask a question. It's not, it's not disrespectful to ask. You know, I think I think a team member or a ministry leader, or even those that serve under you, like as a leader, you can ask somebody up underneath you if they need help. But as a leader, I think it's important to stay in your lane. Like if a pastor asks me to do a job, I don't need you. I don't need to see you in my office at my computer. You know what I'm saying? Let me do my job. Like give me a chance to do what you asked me to do. Now, if I'm doing something wrong, we can talk about it. But like, hey, I need you planning for Easter service. Cool. But then you want to send me, oh, have you listened to this? Oh, have you heard this song? Have you done this? Did you react to that? Did you? Oh, I usually used it. Like, can I do my job, please? You know, but again, as a leader, I think it's okay to ask. And it's different from this is what I need you to do. Is there any way I can assist you? Do you need any resources from me? Do you need to check in and follow up at any time? If you do have a question, here's my number. When's a good time for me to check back in with you? The, I think that's appreciated. Or, you know, I see that this is a little bit, this might be a little much on your plate. Is there something I can divvy up to somebody else? Or can you say, like, I think no matter what aspect you want to assess this relationship from, the recipient will appreciate questions being asked before you just hop yourself into my area and start doing stuff. Like now you're in my bubble and you might be messing up my flow and you my space and I don't like it. I don't like it. Right? Okay. We are at an hour. I got a few more things to kind of work through and then we're gonna be out of here. I went way over last time, and now I'm over again. So, God bless y'all for bearing with me, my faithful few. Uh, let's just talk through some conflict management real quick. Okay, like I said, we're human. We're souls. We're people. We have bad days. We have good days. We have misunderstandings. We have knowledge. We have lack of knowledge. We have preferences. We have emotions. We have flesh. So things happen. Conflicts arise. Okay, how can we mitigate conflict? Start with communication. Okay, if it's a misunderstanding, if it's conflict, if it's offense, if it's whatever, communication can help in a loving and respectful manner, right? Uh, it's biblical that you approach the one that offended you. We can find that in Matthew 18:15, right? Uh, but let's not lose sight of the fact that it may be wise to seek out a mediator. You know, if you feel like it's a really big issue, or you don't feel safe enough to be heard, or um, you're not really sure how to approach, resolution for whatever reason, for whatever the issue is, follow a chain of command. Follow, your ministry leader and say, hey, this is what's going on. You know, I would like to have a conversation, but can you mediate? So that way there's a safe place, somebody to help control things, make sure everybody gets heard, and have a road, right, to reconciliation. Okay. Um, and there's many reasons why, but I'm gonna skip all that for the sake of time. Okay. The original procedure. Okay, let's say the conflict is over, something not getting done, or you're not on time, or you're not prepared, or whatever the case may be. Let's say that's the issue. What can we refer back to? The original procedure. Look, this is the issue that I'm having. This is the issue that we're seeing. And the original protocol that we all agreed to is that rehearsal is at this time. The songs will be to you by this time. You know, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Can we adhere to that? Why are we not adhering to that? What's the issue? What's happening? Like, I sent this out. You hearted it. You liked it. You gave me the thumbs up. Said it was gonna happen. We talked about it. You know, if there's a slip in judgment or whatever the case may be, whatever, refer back to the original procedure, right? The original chain of command. Hey, you've been a little lax. You've been asking for this equipment and be turning in the paperwork. Haven't sat down with a meeting. What's happening? Like the way we do things right here is X Y Z. You remember? Oh yeah, my bad. I didn't do it. I just what. I need you to stick to the agreement. Done. Right? Okay. And lastly, time. Depending on what the issue is, you know, time. Give, and this is huge for leaders. And I mean, honestly, it goes both ways, right? We need time. We need time to cool down. If it's a high temperament situation, we need time to cool down. If it's an issue with protocol, we just may need some time to make a habit out of these protocols, right? Especially somebody's like a new hire or whatever. This is a different way of doing things. We gonna mess up. Give them grace, or we just had the conversation. They might have built a habit out of doing certain things a certain way. We need time to adjust to the system. Time to get it right. Time to make a new habits are hard to start and hard to break. They're hard to start and they're hard to break. So give them time. Give them time. Pray them through it if you want to. Do whatever, but give them time. Okay, and all of these things are going to help improve togetherness, unity, synergy, teamwork, right? Which benefits the ministry at every level. It really does. It really does. And notice, y'all stick with me. I know I talk a lot about music and I tag, musicians and worship leaders and all this, but I ain't really talked about no chords yet. Like, if y'all picked up on that, I ain't talked about a record for real, for real. I ain't talked about the dopest drum brand and top equipment to you. I ain't talked about none of that. But these are things that are going to benefit your team, benefit your ministry, and help you guys work in tandem as a team. Because there's souls out there that need what you all offer. Like, it's truly my prayer that your church ain't just a church just cause, and they do exist. But it's my prayer that you don't attend or serve at one of those churches that just started a church just cause you thought it was cool, or didn't know. Like, ministry is serious work. You know what I'm saying? And so your pastor has been given an assignment to build a ministry in a specific place for a specific people for a specific purpose. There's work to do, you know. But this is what helps it work better, right? Especially in the scope of worship, because I mean we're and I let me hush because I'll talk on this for another 20 minutes. But like we're creatives, you know what I'm saying? Like we deal with a lot. It takes a lot to be a creative. It like creators are creators are just a lot, you know. And so to know how to work with other creatives, and then also for the purpose of ministry, is important before you get to any of this. To know how to see the person in the creative, to know how to see the soul in the creative, and how to treat that soul, and how to care for that soul, and how to look after that soul, and how to work with that soul before we touch any of this. Cut on a piece of gear, flip a microphone on, like that's important. Okay, and I promise you, I'm actually excited about it, man. We're going to get into the chords. We're gonna get into the groove. We're gonna get into the time signatures. We're gonna talk about it all. But this stuff is foundational. This stuff helps that other stuff go along easier because we understand the importance of it, right? And uh, hopefully we start to implement these practices so that way we want to get better at the other stuff, right? Like sometimes when I'm working out something that may be a little intricate or new or creative, is like, yeah, this is dope. I can't wait to break this to the team and see what they do with it. Or let me see what else will put this groove on top of this. Or, the vocals are doing that. Let me figure out something that like that's teamwork in a musical sense, right? And that's exciting, and I want to do that, and I want to participate in that. But I'm not really inclined to do it if I don't like you. I'm just keeping it a butt. Really not inclined to share and jam with you and create a sound and do all this if you're being rude to me. I'm just not. I'm not inclined to get better at my craft to help your ministry out and you don't even know my name. You haven't asked me how am I doing. Like I don't even know if you recognize me as a person or just do you hear sound or not. Not really interested in doing anything extra. I'll listen to the records on the way to the church and whatever, and I'll leave. So anyway, hopefully you guys have been edified, been taught, been imparted into on tonight. It was great to be back with you. Like I said, I got sick a couple weeks ago, so it's good to be back in the swing of things. Um, yeah, we got 2 more weeks, and we will be back with night number 5. So let a friend know, share the flyer, let your church know, let your music ministry know what's going on. And as always, bring your questions, bring your comments. Love to interact, love to answer them. And I will see you guys next time. All right. Have a great week.